What's up, everybody? We are going to get started here momentarily. We need to let people filter in to this live stream before we begin. So we'll be having some fun. Say hi in the chat, and I will say hi back. This is an unscheduled live stream, so I'm not sure how many people will be participating. I see there's 8, there's 9 people. It's starting to grow. What is up? And today, what is up, Sajoy? I think you are a regular. So it is Friday. We're doing a live stream, probably for about an hour. And we're just going to do a live Q&A. We're going to hang out in the chat. I'll answer questions, but I'm also going to show off Unicorn Studio specifically because they're going to be releasing the open beta very soon. And so I'm in direct contact with the creator and the developer of that. And so hopefully within this month, it's ready to rock because you could do some really cool stuff. It's a tool that I will always wished had existed, and here it is. It's existing. So yeah, this is going to be cool. I'm looking at some of the comments in here. What is up, Arda? Andre, what is up? Zone, how is it going? Coming from X. Adam, Charles, what is up? Oh, that just warms my heart. All righty. So let me show you what I've been working on. This is a project that I'm creating. Some of you may have seen it already. And there's 2 reasons why I'm building this project right here. Let me show you this cool intro animation. You see how cool that is? Whoop. The reason I'm building this is twofold. First, I'm getting back into freelance design myself, and so I need some examples for a portfolio. And then second, I'm also creating a course for this project, and I aim to do 1 project per month with 1 course per month and release those. And so you get to see the entire process. I'm talking about the entire process. For instance, we start off with the identity design and figuring out how we can create really cool concepts with the identity process for this fictional business. And then we step into Figma, which is right here, in order to draft the entire thing up before we begin. And then, of course, I'm utilizing Midjourney, primarily Midjourney AI for these assets, like this plant thing right there, this little sensor, the isometric garden bed. And in this section down here, if I show you the live version, is Unicorn Studio. And so this is one of the cool things about Unicorn Studio is you can get 3JS-like shader effects in the browser without having to touch GLSL, which is the shading language that you use to write shaders. And it's just like a pain. Like I'm more of a designer, right? So that's what Unicorn Studio allows you to do, this type of stuff visually without having to, create the code. And so the primary use case right now of Unicorn Studio is to be able to embed it as kind of just like accents, if you will, in your project. And there's obviously a lot more different use cases of this, and I'll show you some of those as well. But going back to, this situation here, so I'm in the middle of recording this course already. And so I hope to have it released sometime by next week. And then you'll be able to follow along. Of course, it's going to be several hours long. I imagine 4 to 5, maybe 6, to create something like this from scratch, from the identity process to the Figma UI UX process to the Framer. We're using Framer for this one. And then also Rive. So there's a lot of Rive happening here as well. The plant graphic and how it grows. In this stuff, this is all a Rive canvas. This is a Rive canvas. If it's showing up as being laggy on your screen, it's not laggy. It's just because of the video feed. This right here is also Unicorn Studio. This is Unicorn Studio, this little tiny part right here. It's a little tiny embed. I mean, not in Unicorn Studio. I meant Rive. I'm sorry. And then this as well is Unicorn Studio. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a Q&A, and also I'll show off Unicorn Studio during this live stream. So again, if any of you have questions, you want to hit me up in the chat. I'll be checking the chat, frequently, and answering questions. But in the meantime, I'm also going to step into Unicorn Studio just to show you what it is like, because a lot of you don't have access. It's a closed beta. So it's going to be open beta though here very shortly, hopefully within this month. So the first thing I'll do is just kind of show you up here, there's starter templates, just to kind of show you what's possible with Unicorn Studio. And I'm going to click on some of these just to kind of show them off. There's some of them I haven't even checked out yet. Let's see here. Let's click on this one. All right. So sometimes you may have to hit play if there's some of these layers will have a play button, and you can control the interactivity and the property inspector over here. So here's the section that somebody could just embed on their website as just like, a section that you scroll past or something like that. And so what's cool is like you can experiment with just moving things around and playing with all the different settings. It is super, 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 super cool. Let's check out another one like Warp Stream. That is cool. So there's no interactivity here with the mouse or anything, but this effect in and of itself is very cool. And you can kind of hide each of the layers to see what it is that they're doing. So this is a bloom layer. This reminds me of the old, is it HBO intro? Anyway, projection. So projection, I guess, can skew things. And you can change the settings over here, like what's the warp? Okay. You can really warp things. So just the starter templates will give you a good starting point for just seeing what's possible, because it is highly dynamic, because there's so many properties associated with a lot of the different effects. You can also make it track the mouse. Look at this. That's a little broken. But let me go back here. Let's try another one. A gither. Or did I say gither? A glyph dither. There we go. And this is also super cool because they have presets for like dithering and creating really cool effects like this. So this looks like actually a cylinder. So there's a 3D shape. If I hide it, you probably won't see that. But if I get rid of the dither, okay, so that's what's happening. Is there's a dither layer on top of everything, and it's affecting everything underneath it. So that's the cool thing. Like we could just stick this, maybe underneath the text and bring it back. Oh, I hit the wrong one. There we go. I think I just broke the project. Oopsie. Either way, it's fun to play with this. So aquarium. Okay, so this is kind of the effect that I had in my project. It's very similar to this effect. It's kind of like this water effect. Go back here. A flow gradient. Okay, I can see kind of like a little bit of grain has been added. We can turn that off if we wish. It's not interactive with the mouse, but we could make it if we wanted to. So it's really cool. This app, I mean, the things you could do are super awesome. Look at this. So this is a mouse reveal effect, like a bitmap effect. So you can see there's a pixelate option right here, which is probably creating that. Now, if I turn that off, there's no more. This is super cool as well. So a lot of it is subjective, and you could just be creative with it as you wish, bringing that back. Look at that. There's also a little bit of a noise occurring here. And there's a shape element. So there's a lot of stuff that I still need to learn how to do in playing around with this. I'll show you one more. Look at this. Some of you may have seen the website that this exists on because it was floating around on X last month or the month before. It's very, very cool stuff that you can do. So let me go ahead and check out some of the comments here. Let's see. Can you import Unicorn Studio made assets in another platform? Yes. So the cool thing about that is if I go here to my main project, here's my green thumb project. And what you do is you hit export. Oh, sorry. I wasn't showing my screen. So here's the green thumb project that I created here in Unicorn Studio. And what you could do is you go to like embed, for instance. and you will see there's a framer component. So that's the cool thing. You just copy this right here and you paste it in the framer, and then you have to get the project ID and specify that in the properties of that framer component. And then guess what? It's ready to go on your framer site. So if I go to framer over here, let me go to framer.com, get into my project. I'll show you that embed and what that looks like real quick. So if I go down all the way down to here, all right, and let me go to layers, Unicorn Studio. You'll see right there is Unicorn Studio. This is the component. It's right here, and you can see the project ID, and it has some other, properties that you can specify as well. And so when I hit play, it shows up right down here. Isn't that awesome? Yes, it is. So you can also, when it comes to export, of course, you can import this. You can embed this as code. You can embed it as iframe and also import it into Framer. And then there's also a code option as well. So it's very flexible. You can even export video, which is super cool. So let's check out some other comments here. Let's see. What's the difference between Unicorn Studio and Rive? Very good question. So Rive itself does not have the ability to integrate shaders, like web technology, like that type, because the Rive engine is their custom render engine, and it doesn't just work for web. It also works for all the other platforms, C++, Unity, Unreal, Flutter. There's a bunch of them. And because it's a custom render engine, they want to make sure their engine works everywhere seamlessly. Multiple platforms, different code bases. And because of that, they can't just integrate like web shaders, because then it would only work on the web, like for web platforms. So I have, in speaking with the founder, of Rive, he's told me they do have plans in the future to integrate, 3JS shader-like effects, but they haven't got to that point yet. So that's the main difference between Rive and Unicorn Studio. Unicorn Studio is specifically for creating these 3JS. I keep on saying 3JS. I shouldn't say that. For creating these shader effects and integrating them specifically for web and no other platform. So that's the big difference between the two platforms. Unicorn Studio is a much more niche application where you have some interactivity. There is a timeline. I'll show you that for some animations, but it's not as capable of a tool as Rive. It's not as, I guess you could say, robust. And there's a lot more features and capabilities within Rive. But again, Rive can't do this stuff. So you can use them both together in conjunction with each other, which is really, really cool. And I showed that in the other stream from a week or two ago when I did a stream last time. So if I bring that, let's see, where's my cursor? I'm going to see if I can get my project up here. I was experimenting with overlaying Rive behind a Unicorn Studio background. So there are two elements that are position fixed. Where is this? Where is this window? I have another monitor that's across the room connected to this computer, and apparently it's way over there. 1 second. Oh, it's actually not. Nice. So I don't know where the hell my cursor window's at, and I can't even right click it to change it. Amazing. What in the fuck? I get so frustrated. Well, anyway, so let me go back to the comments here. I'm curious about export and import into other platforms. All right, so I already answered that question basically. When is the Rive course going to be available? Yeah, so I'm waiting for Rive to do a few things. They haven't integrated drop shadows and blur glows and stuff like that yet, but I think they are very, very soon. I'm waiting for them to do that primarily. And then I'll create courses based on that. And one of the things that I'm doing right now, like For instance, this project-based course that I'm going to be doing, which is right here. Rive exists in this project in 4 different locations. This animated flower graphic, let me show you. Yeah, so this animated plant graphic, this is all Rive. That's Rive. This is Rive. And this little element right here is Rive. So as soon as next week or the week after, when I launch this little course, and I plan to do one of these courses per month, you'll start be able to learn how to use Rive in a real world context, like this landing page. So in about probably a week or 2, we'll be able to get that type of stuff knocked out. Will the course you're building be in the Framer course track? Yeah, so I do have a Framer course that I released early last year. So basically it's a year old right now. I'll probably include that as well into that course, or at least make this project-based course perhaps available to those who paid for it. I'm not sure yet. Let's see here. Can really be a pain to code. Yeah, it's about anything with shaders is a pain to code for, web devs. It's just a very different type of language. I am good. Okay. So let's switch gears here, and I'll show you kind of how you can build a project in Unicorn Studio, trying to recreate this effect right here. You can see there's kind of like a nice little water type effect. So I'm going to go over here and this is what this looks like. This is the actual project. This is what we're going to try to end up with. So if I go back here, we create a new project. This is what we're presented with. So the only layer we have is just the background layer. And if I go to Unicorn Studio real quick, I want to go back to my project right there. I just want to grab the background color. There we go. All right. So we'll just recreate this, and I'll show you how quick and easy, it is, and just to have fun experimenting. That's what it's mainly about. So we got that background. And the next thing that we have here, we have the text, the green thumb. So if I just get out the text tool, all right, make that sucker bigger. Now they did actually very recently, within the last week or 2, release an update with layout and anchor, like positioning and stuff like that. So you can get this centered up here. And I'm not sure what font I was using. It's not really important for this little quick demo. Just want to try to find something that's like a serif font. Yeah, we'll use that one. All right. And then we'll also go ahead and get this a proper color. What was I using? Okay, so it's kind of like a watermark. So if I click on, let's see. Oh, that's ugly. What we do is get the background color like that, and then drag it down. There we go. All right, so now we have our text layer and a background layer. Very boring, right? Yeah, nothing cool happening just yet. And then outside of that, I have caustics. All right, so let's find that. If I go back, and here are all the effects that we have. So if I type in caustics, this is what gives us the water effect. Now, notice over here, there's a play button. And if we play it, we'll see how it's animating. And it's just kind of give you this watery effect, essentially. And there's a lot of different properties associated with the caustics effect. So we can scale this thing up, down, refraction. Let's see what that does. Just kind of having fun, playing around with things. So you could skew it. There's an angle, distortion. I'm not sure what. Okay, so if you really want to distort whatever's behind it, we'll keep distortion to a minimum. All right. And then there's a mix option where you can kind of just, it's almost the equivalent of like opacity. All right. And then the next thing I set was a water ripple effect on top of that. But really, I want to get the vignette. Is that how you prefer? I've never known how to pronounce that. Is it vignette? Vignette, I think. Okay. Anyhow, let's go do that real quick. Let's add the VIG. There we go. There we go. And what we can do with this is we could specify the fade off color. Then that should be the same color as my background. So if I grab that, we go to our vignette, paste that in there. That way it's not, consuming the entire effect. I think it was just like a little bit too much. If we go back to the caustic section, you could change the animation speed. It's a little bit too fast. And I think we could skew this as well to kind of create more of like, that's what I did. All right. So right now there is no mouse interactivity, but we can change that. So there's one called water ripple. So there's mouse ripple. I think that's the same thing. I just changed the name of the thing, possibly. Yeah, that's it. So once you add it, just guess what? It just works automatically. You'd have to really do a lot of coding, hand coding to get this to work. Now, of course, you have your settings over here where we could change the scale of the ripple size, the strength. Maybe we could reduce that. Look how cool this is. There's viscosity. All right. And what else did we do? Oh, I had the two images. So I have these leaf graphics that I generated with Midjourney and then cut them out in Photoshop and made them transparent PNGs. So you can upload those. You can already see what I uploaded already. Here I am with my guitar. Here, let's put this image right here. It's not a good image. Let me put this down. Look at that. Look at my face. Okay. Anyway, let me delete that. All right. So let me use the actual real ones that we wanted. So here's a plant graphic or a leaf graphic, if you will. Scale that sucker down. Get this rotated. So position, where's rotation? There we go. And we'll put it right around there. And then also we'll do another one just for, a couple different looks here. And we'll rotate this one like over here. Okay. Now what's cool is we can add mouse follow interactivity. So if we do mouse tracking down here, right there, we can increase this slider. So the higher the slider is, the closer it's going to follow the mouse. So if you want it to be kind of like, drifting a little bit, you would keep that mouse tracking percentage low. There's also momentum and 3D axis tilt. 3D axis tilt's pretty cool because it gives you kind of like a 3D effect depending on where your mouse is moving. So now you could do the same thing. You could put tracking here, 3D axis tilt. There we go. Look at that. Now, of course, if we really increase tracking, it's kind of makes it a little bit more dynamic. And then, of course, if we wanted to, we can move the water ripple effect above the two layers, and now it's going to affect the actual leaf graphics as well. And if we wanted to, we could put the vignette above those. So now they're going to kind of trail off in the distance, which I think is cool. We can also move the caustics effects above them if we wanted to. And now you have this really cool dynamic thing that would have taken a long ass time to code with shaders. And that's why this tool is really, really freaking awesome. And that's why also I really believe in the future, we are going to have a comprehensive tool, a website builder essentially, that includes not only just this stuff, but also all the other stuff with like with Rive. It's going to be one tool. And I can't wait for that. But for now, we have multiple tools when we want to achieve certain things. And I think this is a good workflow right now for what currently exists. So let me go back here. Let me check out any other comments here. Nope, no comments. So I'm curious if anybody else has had access to Unicorn Studio just yet. And if so, if you've been using it in any other context. But I believe the pricing that they're going to have, it's actually pretty reasonable. I forget what that pricing is going to look like, but we'll see. So let's go back here into back. And here's another one I did for a recent tutorial. So notice, in and of itself, this isn't that cool. What starts to make this cool is when we use it as just an asset in an existing web project. That's the use case. So for this one, this was a Framer crash course video I did. So if I go to Framer, I click here, you'll see how you can utilize, let me hit play, Unicorn Studio, for instance, for like a background effect. So let me reload this. We have some cool animations loading in. And again, this was a free YouTube video. So if you check out a couple weeks ago, my channel, you'll find out exactly how to make this within Unicorn Studio, but also dealing with Framer right here. This is just a real quick demo project. Yeah, for sure. Super cool. And also the guy who runs it, and it's just a one-man team. He's in the Unicorn Studio Discord server and very responsive and stuff. So shout outs for that. How can we add event listeners on those assets? All right. So there is like, as far as I'm aware, there is an API where you can do some stuff. I think it's minimal in terms of its abilities, but I haven't dug into that quite just yet. But yeah, I think there's going to be click events and all that stuff happening. Probably my personal project right here. If I click on this one, it has a timeline. So you could do stuff like that. So if I hit play again. Now, the way I could show you this is if I click on 3D shape, yeah, there's an actual timeline down here. And that is really, really cool. So like this timeline element, you can't apply this to all elements like the effects or whatever, but like a 3D shape or something like that, you have access to this timeline where you can then keyframe animate any of the properties that are associated with it, which, for a 3D shape, there is a ton of properties. So I'm animating the scale, the twist. So you can notice that this little torus graphic actually twists. And the amount, the position, the scale, the opacity. So yeah, it is a super cool tool. And so I really believe it's going to be a large part of what I do going forward in this year for integrating really cool effects in, marketing style landing pages. I think that's where it makes a lot of sense. All right, let me hide that comment. Oh, by the way, you might hear like this weird noise. Let me get the full screen up here. Look at this dog. This thing is 6 pounds. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. Anyway, that's my wife's new dog, and then she just hangs out here. That's Sophie, a long-haired Chihuahua, who's like the most relaxed dog ever, by the way. She's like, she never barks, and she just hangs out, and the shits are small. That's a very big positive, because we have a big golden retriever. Anyways, they shout a lot. No, this one does not at all. I'm going to try to get cursor back up because here's the problem. I got cursor here and I don't know what monitor it's showing up on. So have you ever had that happen? It's like I'm loading cursor and it's not loading up on my desktop. If I try to right click it, it won't show up and it's not showing up on my screen. And now I just went blank. 1 second. Oh no, let me fix this. My computer's breaking over here. Desktop capture. We're gonna have to fix this. 1 second. I know what to do. I think I know what to do. Man, that would suck if I have to end this early because my screencasting software is just being stupid. Well, I'm going to switch back here. Is there any video where we could see this green website you designed? I joined quite late. No, actually, I could do you one better. I'll show you the actual live URL, and you can just visit it on your own to check it out. All right, so let me just paste that in. There we go. So this is what this green website, the green thumb website, that's what the course will be about, creating everything from exact scratch from what you see here. Multiple apps are used, Adobe Illustrator, Figma, Unicorn Studio for that one section here at the bottom, Rive, Framer, Photoshop, even just for a little bit of photo editing as well. So there's like 6 or 7 different pieces of tech that all come together to create, this modern interactive landing page that we have here. And of course, it's responsive as well. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to show you all that process of making, a modern landing page. And this first landing page I'm created is going to be used as a portfolio example for my own site. Yeah, I kind of just forgot. You guys can't see my screen. But it's going to be my first, portfolio example of my own little freelance business coming up. But I'm excited to do kind of a little bit more crazy examples going forward, maybe ones that are a little bit more complex in terms of the layout flow of another like landing page style marketing sites. Because I'll be honest, that's my niche. That's what I'm interested in the most. Because when it comes to UI UX design, unless you're doing something else that's really cool, like doing game UIs and stuff, designing dashboards and internal things like that, internal pages and UIs like that is boring to me, because really that type of stuff, it's not so much about creativity. You can use something like ShadCN and have something very solid that's going to work. But a creative style landing page, like for marketing purposes, that's where you can kind of have a lot more creative freedom, which is what I like. It's also more challenging. So that's why I'm focusing a lot of my courses coming up in this year with the project-based courses. That's why I'm focusing on landing page styles, modern landing pages, modern interactions, and all the cool stuff that we're seeing here. What is up, Kevin? Long time. I've been designing dashboards for 5 years. Would love to go into more creative designs like these. Yeah, these are fun. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen because it's all jacked up right now. But I think this will be a shorter stream just because there's not too many people here. But yeah, definitely look out for that course. These are all my videos already. I recorded all these videos within the last, oh wait, you can't even see it. But there's 13 videos a part of the course anyways. I'm not going to bore you anymore. Sophie says goodbye. Goodbye. And I will see you all very soon. Yeah, look out for videos on the YouTube channel coming out next week. Follow me on X, of course, if you haven't yet, and that is designcourse.com username. And we need more specific dates. Yeah, well, this little project-based course for the Green Thumb project will be coming out, I want to say for sure within 2 weeks. So that's the most immediate thing that I'm working on. And then I'm going right back into working on the next project to release sometime in March. So that's my plans. And I will see you all very soon. Alrighty, goodbye.